guys, welcome back to my channel. It's a long time coming. I finally have a book haul. I'm really excited about it. I'm just feeling like really chill today. Like I don't have that much energy. I just like want to have some like conversation. So that's what we're gonna have today. Also, I have this ring light. I feel ridiculous. My boyfriend has this ring light for like his Zoom meetings for work. He's like, Sarah, you should really use it. And so here we are. Let me know what you think, because I feel insane. But anyways, I think I have like 17 or 18 books that have just piled up, and I'm so excited to talk about them. I meant to film this a while ago, but I just like didn't have time. I tried to get rid of all background noise because that's my pet peeve. So I had to pause the dishwasher and now it's beeping at me. Yeah, you're gonna hear that throughout the video. I'm really sorry. And my air conditioner just turned on. We're off to a great start. I've been rambling for like 2 minutes already. So let's get started. I'm gonna start with the 6 books that I've already read this year. And if you want further reviews, stay tuned for my January wrap up and I will go into further detail, but I'm just gonna show you them really quick. I'll start with the book that I actually just read, and it's News of the World by Paulette Giles. Oh, I wanna say what I thought about it. Okay, so this follows Captain Kidd, who is fresh out of the Civil War. It's like 1870s in Texas, and he is given the responsibility to kind of transport this 10-year-old girl who was captive of a Native American tribe that stole her from her family and like killed all her family, and so he is given the responsibility to bring her like 600 miles to her aunt and uncle, who she's like doesn't know. She can't really speak English anymore, and it's just about their journey getting there. And yeah, so that's News of the World. Next is Escape from Camp 14, A White Man's Remarkable Odyssey from North Korea to Freedom in the West by Blaine Hardin. So this follows Shin Dong-hyuk, who, this is a true story. He is only one of like 2 or 3 people who's ever been born and escaped the concentration camps in North Korea. Like you can go on Google Maps and look at where he was, and it's still happening, it's still going on. So we follow his journey. He talks about like his parents and growing up in these camps and what he goes through, and finally his escape and kind of him moving west, and then finally lands back in South Korea. So that's Escape from Camp 14. Next is Memoirs of a Geisha by Arthur Golden. So I have been wanting to read this book for so long. It's not a true story, but it's like pretty much a true story. Like the author interviewed this real life geisha and kind of retold her story through the story of Sayuri. So we follow her. She's kind of born in this kind of poor seacoast town in Japan, and she's beautiful. She has these gray eyes, and so she's kind of sold to become a geisha with her sister. Unfortunately, her sister and her go their different ways. They're kind of forced into different parts of the city. We follow her growing up to be a geisha. I learned so much. Not gonna go further into detail about what I thought, but yeah, that's Memoirs of a Geisha. You probably know what it's about. So glad that I finally read this. I gotta go faster. I've literally only talked about 3 books. Okay, Wolf by Ryan Groudon. This is kind of like a retelling if the Axis powers had won World War II, so Hitler's still in power. There's this motorcycle race that happens every year that he kind of holds, and it's mainly like German and Japanese like teenagers that do it, and the winner gets to meet Hitler. So we follow our main character, Yael. It's really hard for me to pronounce, but she was a prisoner in the concentration camp and was tested upon and kind of like given this kind of to make her skin lighter. So this allows her to eventually be able to skin shift, and so she uses this skin shifting ability to escape from the camp, and she wants to use that ability to become a motorcycle racer and win and kill Hitler. So we follow that story. Next is In the Shadow of Blackbirds by Kat Winters. This, you know, the timing, this is about the 1918 Spanish flu. So everyone's wearing masks and stuff. It's really crazy to read about. Kat Winters did a lot of research into like what people thought could like solve the flu back then, and it's so interesting to read about. But we follow our main character, Mary Shelley, who is living through this time as a 16-year-old in 1918. The Spanish flu is going on and World War One. So it's really like the worst year ever, and we follow her as she tries to like figure out what happened to her love, like her childhood love, as he goes off to World War One, and it kind of deals with like spirits and like the other realm, and it has like pictures from the time. So yeah, we follow her trying to figure out what happened to him, and that's all I'm gonna say about that one. Last one that I've read is Outlawed by Anna North. This follows our main character, Ada, and she gets married. This is 1894, I believe, in Texas. She is unable to have kids, and so everyone in town thinks she's a witch, and so she could die because of it. And so she joins this like hole-in-the-wall gang of all women, and they're outlaws. And they're trying to create a safe space for like other women that are barren and that people think are a witch, and crazy ride. So we follow that story. So those are the 6 that I've already read. Now we're gonna continue on in the ones that I have not read. By the way, I literally got almost all of these from thriftbooks.com. I love them. They have the cheapest books ever, so it's really great for girlies on a budget like me. I don't know if I've talked about this one, but I of course have A Promised Land by Barack Obama. I did not realize how large this book was. It is insane. So I don't know when I'm gonna get to this, but it is, I didn't know it's like his 3rd book, and it's his like reflections on his presidency. I'm so excited to learn all about it. It has a bunch of pictures, and it's just such a nice book. I read Michelle Obama's book and I absolutely loved it, so I have high hopes. I think it'll be really interesting and really eye-opening, and yeah, he wanted to like tell people what it's like to be president, because no one knows. Next are a few more from Book of the Month. January was a great month, and I literally couldn't choose, so I got like 3 of them. And then this one I got for free because it was like a Book of the Year finalist, and that was The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue by V.E. Schwab. I'm sure you've heard of this book. Who hasn't talked about it? But yeah, that's why I got it, because I was like, everyone talks about it and how great it is. It's a little bit out of my comfort zone. It's a little fantasy-like, I think. But we follow Addie LaRue, who I think makes the deal with the devil in order to live forever. But like the catch is that no one remembers her, so she's going through life, you know, once she meets someone and leaves them, they don't remember her, but one day someone does remember her. And so I think we follow that. It's probably like a love interest if I was to guess, but yeah, it's so pretty. Excited for this one. Everyone talks about it. And I picked up The Survivors by Jean Harper. I honestly have no idea what this is about. I think that's kind of the point. Like, the summary is so hard to like, it's like someone dies, there's a secret, we follow our main character Kieran, and apparently like he made this big mistake, and then his family and him go back to like their seaside town where he grew up, and secrets come out. So I have no idea. Really excited about this one. I think it's gonna be a fun little mystery, a little thriller type situation. Last one from Book of the Month is The Removed by Brandon Hobson. Wow, the cover. Also, the summary. So this follows a Native American family like 16 years after the death of their son Ray Ray, who was killed in a police shooting. And the siblings and the parents kind of all dealt with that grief in different ways and kind of became estranged from each other and are still grappling with it. And so we follow them as the like family bonfire nears, and they're all getting ready to see each other. I think it has to do a lot with like spirituality and just like how they're dealing with the grief of his death, and a lot of like Native American folklore comes into it. I don't know, it's really short, so I don't know how they're gonna like stuff all that into one book. Sorry, it's 15 years since his death. I think I said 16. It sounds like deep and probably is a very difficult read, but I think it sounds super interesting. So next I have Such a Fun Age by Kylie Reed. I feel like I had to pick this one up. Everyone talks about it. This has to deal with like race and class and like racial profiling, I'm pretty sure. We follow our main character, Amira. Amira is Black, and she is babysitting this little white girl, and they go to the store, and I think police like assume that she like kidnapped her or something. Not exactly sure. Also not exactly sure where the title comes from. I think that'll be interesting. Of course, it's like really fitting for the times, and I think it'll be really educational, and I don't know if it's like supposed to be funny. I don't know. We'll see. Next, I'm so excited for this one. This is Homegoing by Yakiyasi. I'm really sorry if I'm saying her name. Look at this cover. So this reminds me very much of The Vanishing Half by Britt Bennett. We follow two sisters in Ghana in the 18th century. They're half sisters, and they're born in like very different circumstances. Like one gonna marry like an Englishman and like go live in a castle, and then the other half sister I think like works at that castle like as a slave. And so we see like their contradicting lives and follow the generations after them and how much they differ, of course dealing with like race and social class. And again, a really heavy read probably, but I have heard only beautiful things about this book, so I'm really looking forward to this one, and I just hear so many good things about this author. So this is a very random assortment. I hope you know that when you click on one of my videos, like I like every kind of realm of reading. But this is Dead Wake by Erik Larson, the last crossing of the Lusitania. So Erik Larson is kind of like a king of his trade. Like he is so good about talking about historical events. So obviously this deals with the sinking of the Lusitania, which I know nothing about, but it was in World War I, and I think it was a liner. I honestly have no idea. I'm just looking forward to learn. So that's what I'm gonna do with this book. Again, I've only heard amazing things, and I've read some of his books before and I loved them. So high expectations for this one. I think it'll be really interesting. Diving again into race and class, and we are just educating ourselves here. So this is Dreamland Burning by Jennifer Latham. This one's really hard to summarize. I think it's like dual timelines. I think we follow her like modern day, and she ends up finding the skeleton like by her house, and the skeleton was this man. And so we look at his life and her life, and I think it was like when the Jim Crow laws came out. I don't know. I honestly don't. I need to stop talking. I don't know much about this book, but again, only heard good things, so I decided to pick it up. I think it's like historical fiction, which I love, so again, I have really high hopes for this one. I'm really looking forward to this one. Okay, kind of along the same lines of Memoirs of a Geisha, I've had my eyes on this book for so long, and I decided to finally pick it up. It's Pachiko by Minjin Lee. So yeah, I got this like used. Look at where Target put that sticker. Come on. You had one job. Like, you didn't have to put it on her face. Anyways, this I believe follows a few generations of a Korean family, and it starts in like the early 1900s, and we follow Sunja, and she wants to be with this like fisherman, but then she gets pregnant. And I think it's like her family trying to find their way home back to Korea. I'm not exactly sure. It is a thick book, so who knows what I'm gonna get to it, but I think it's historical fiction, and it's just like a classic that everyone needs to read, you know? I guess it's not that long. It's like 470 pages. It just like looks really thick. So this next book, I saw it randomly in Barnes & Noble, but I had way too many books in my hand, so I had to put some back. So I put this one back, and then I couldn't stop thinking about it. Anyways, I have it now. But it's The Badass Librarians of Timbuktu by Joshua Hammer. This sounds like a wild ride. So this is a true story in the 1980s. This archivist who was Abdel Kader Hadara, he like traveled across the Sahara Desert, and he ended up saving, I think, like 350,000 Islamic manuscripts, which is like amazing, before Al-Qaeda got to them. And I read some reviews that were like, people were kind of disappointed and they thought it'd be more about like the journey, but it's really more like historical in nature, which I'm not super sad about. I think that sounds amazing. I know nothing about what this book is about, like historical wise, so I'm excited to learn. That's why I read, is to learn. So this one is so high on my list. I cannot wait. I mean, we had to throw a romance in there. You know, I had to get my hands on one. This is Love and Gelato by Jenna Evans Welch. This cover, okay. So this is actually part of a trilogy. I really want to read the other two if I like this one, which I think I will. Only heard good things about it. So we follow our main character, who is 16-year-old Lena, and she is spending the summer in Tuscany. Her mother's like dying wish is for her to get to know her father, so she heads to Italy. And apparently there's like this huge family secret and she learns about it and it like changes everything. So I don't know where like the romance comes in, but it's almost February, so I'll probably read this around Valentine's Day. Okay, we've made it to the end of the road, y'all. This was a long one. I'm like sweaty. I always get sweaty though. Like I need a moment. I'm glistening. Good thing I didn't wear highlighter because your girlie's sweaty. This is Under a Painted Sky by Stacy Lee. Another historical fiction, of course. This one follows two girls in like the 1850s, I believe, like on the Oregon Trail. Yeah, starting in Missouri. We follow Samantha, who wants to go back to New York and be a musician, but she is Chinese, and so she finds the help of a runaway slave named Anna May, and they pretend to be boys and like go through the Oregon Trail and like try to make it to New York, I suppose. I love a good adventure story. I've been super into like westerns lately. Like I've already read 2 this year, so I'm kind of on a roll. I've only heard good things about this one, so. And the cover is so beautiful. I had to pick it up. I'm really, really excited about this one. That's it, y'all. Those are all the books that I have. I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope maybe some of them sound interesting and you would like to pick one up yourself. The ones I talked about in the beginning, I will be doing reviews of in my January wrap up, so look out for that video. But until then, I hope you're doing well, and I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye guys!